Welcome back to Solidworks Live at Solidworks World 2019 in Dallas, Texas. I'm your host, Jeremy Rigneris, and I'm joined this morning by Matt Schmotzer, otherwise known here at the event as Roller Coaster Matt, right?
Yeah, it's a pleasure being here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, it's awesome to have you here. You just came off of a panel of entrepreneurs who were talking about different ways that they were using Solidworks,
Yes.
correct?
Yep.
What was that experience like?
No, it was great. I'm kind of unique in the sense that this is kind of a hobby experience for me, in the sense that I'm just going out and designing stuff in SolidWorks and creating it in the real world, and I just get to talk about it. So it was really cool to see, all the other people that use SolidWorks and actually get excited about, someone else, making something that's not really a product per se, but more of like an art piece.
So you mentioned this was a hobby for yourself. Tell me a little bit about how engineering became a hobby for you.
Engineering became that's a good question. I like to tinker. I'm a maker. I try to be creative. Outside of work, like just everyday life, right? So it kind of just there's not like an on-off switch. It's kind of just always on. It's stuck on, and it kind of just after I get out my day job, I just like I like to just tinker around with things, see how stuff works, and then it kind of just spiraled into like obtaining a bunch of 3D printers, and then I've always had an interest in roller coasters, so it was at some point in my life we were going to blend the two together, and that's kind of what I got here.
So I should probably take a step back for the folks who are watching us live who might not be aware. What you're showing here at SolidWorks World this year is you have two replica roller coasters that you've created in different areas here at SolidWorks World.
Yes.
One in the Hive, which if you've been paying attention to the stream, we visited earlier this week, we showed on camera. And we have another one here in the product showcase. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about both of these roller coasters and what they are.
Yeah, of course. So the roller coaster that's in the Hive is in Vertigo, which is it's a ride at Kings Island in Cincinnati, Ohio, and it's a 1/32 scale model of the actual ride. It actually works. So there's actually a train that runs around and goes around the track. The restraints work, the gates open. However, I had a little mishap in shipping, but we still have the model here, and anything that's 3D printed can be fixed. So it doesn't bother me, although I'm a little sad that I can't show off it working, but we'll fix it back up. But yeah, that's in the Hive, and it is out on the main floor there. In the gaming lounge, we have Batman, the ride, which is based off a ride at Six Flags over Texas, which is not too far down the street from here.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why we chose to bring that model. And it's a work in progress. So we're actually on the floor here assembling the pieces that we 3D printed back home, and we're just kind of showing everyone what the process is to assemble one of these models. So
you're actually going through the process of building that roller coaster
Yes.
here with thousands of people walking around,
With
nosing in,
yeah.
trying to see what's going on, right?
Exactly, and they all have either a different or better way of doing everything. So I take that in, and I'm like, okay, process it. I'm like, okay, maybe they might have a point. So it's good. It's good just to to ricochet ideas off each other.
Yeah, I mean, SolidWorks World is all about collaboration, meeting
Exactly.
with other people, sharing ideas. Now, you have another project at home that you didn't bring here. Is that correct? You had mentioned?
I also have another model. It's Steel Vengeance. Actually, that was sponsored by the park. So Cedar Point asked me to make a model of Steel Vengeance that is a brand new ride for 2018.
It replaces the Raptor, right?
Actually, it replaces the Mean Streak.
Okay.
The previous year they had Valraven. It was right next to the Raptor.
Glad I went on the Mean Streak about 3 years ago.
It's gone now, but
Yeah.
it's a much better ride. So they asked me to make a model for them because they saw it in Vertigo and they loved it. And they wanted to have one in their park, so it's an ongoing process. That one was just so much work. It was different too, because the models here at SolidWorks World, they're based off steel coasters, which I try to incorporate a lot of 3D printing. With Steel Vengeance, it's a wooden roller coaster, a wooden frame, but it has steel track, and it's really tough to make 3D printed wood structure. So I was like, let's just design everything in SolidWorks and then use the drawings to cut individual timbers to glue together and make the structure.
So you didn't even try to fake it and create 3D printed versions of the wooden timbers. You did it
I
all.
thought
You
about
laser
it, but I was like, let's just go for it. And we used balsa wood and basswood.
Okay.
And then, as you said, we use laser cutting to laser cut the track. Also, we take plywood sheets, cut them so they fit in the laser cutter, and then we'll have the laser cutter plot the locations of every cement footer. So
Okay.
I don't have to go and measure and survey the land, so to speak. I can have the machine tell me exactly where it is, and that was all designed in SolidWorks, so you can, kind of do, landscaping, design with the software. So it's really cool.
So now obviously you're using some very unique tools to create these that not everybody has access to. So tell us a little bit about the different tools you use to create the physical parts. So I understand we're designing this in SolidWorks, but eventually you create the physical model. What are some of the tools you're using to do that?
That's a great question. So as I said, I was interested in 3D printing since, forever ago. So I had 3D printers. But just because you have a hammer doesn't make everything a nail. It was tough to, as I said, figure out where all the locations of the footers were. And I was like, man, I really need either a CNC router or a laser cutter, or just something that I could put, flat sheets of, either plywood or foam or whatever we're working with, either mill it out or laser cut it. So I'm from Detroit, and there's a maker space in Ferndale called I3 Detroit, and I'm a member, an active member there, and they have the tools that I don't have. So it was really cool. It's a great maker space. They have a lot of tools that not many people normally have. So I went there. They have laser cutters, and I was like, all right, I need to laser cut this. You'll take the training, learn how to use the machines, and then you're off and running. And then the sky's the limit on what you can do there. So so the makerspace, and then my interest in 3D printing just brings all these tools together and different technologies that I use to create these models.
Yeah, makerspaces are a great place for people who don't have access to these types of tools to be able to go, get the hands-on training to both use the equipment and then have access to the equipment after the fact to be able to use it to create things that otherwise would be out of their reach. It's great for entrepreneurs, makers, DIYers. So tell me a little bit about how you got started using SolidWorks. I mean, obviously it's a passion and it's a hobby of yours, but where did this all start?
Yeah, so in regards to using SolidWorks, I gotta blame the university I went to. So I'm a graduate from Purdue University. I got my bachelor's and master's degree there. And if you want a story, it was senior design. And I actually have a minor in computer graphic technology at Purdue, which is all CATIA. You'll only use CATIA, so there's a plug there. And I remember I walked into this class and I was like, all right, I'm ready to do the CAD design. I am trained in CATIA, let's do this. And the professor said, no, you're not using CATIA. You're gonna use SolidWorks. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So I learned how to use SolidWorks. And I was like, man, not saying one's better than the other, but SolidWorks was just simpler in the way that you could just go and quickly make something. And it wasn't it was just different. It was better for what I was doing for my project, and I was like, there's definitely trade-offs, and I like it. And so they made us use it, and ever since that senior design class, I've kind of always stuck using that, and they provide it at the university, so why not just take advantage of that and keep using it? So while I was in school, I actually designed in Vertigo while I was just bored.
So that's where this started, while you were still in school?
Yes, I was still in school. So,
okay.
Yep, and then afterwards, it kind of just took off, and I was like, I really have an interest in this, and I kept doing it.
And then you were telling me that along the way, so SolidWorks found you, wanted to bring you here, obviously. Tell us a little bit about how that all kind of came to be.
Of course. So I was designing the ride in SolidWorks, and I think one day I just kind of got a little burnt out because it was just a lot of work, and I was like, does anyone even care? I had no idea if this is something cool that I should pursue or if I was just wasting my time. So I just threw a post out on Reddit, just said, look what I designed in SolidWorks. And I think it was look at this 3D printed roller coaster in SolidWorks. And it was just the CAD model. I didn't even print it out at the time. And a couple people at SolidWorks noticed it, got in contact, and they said, hey, is this did you design this as the poster? And I said, yeah, this is me. And they're like, so what, they're just asking what is this all about? And I told them, I want to 3D print this. I want to make it work. And I've just been in connection with them. And ever since that original posting, we've just been talking about updates, how's it going? Is it done yet? Blah blah blah. Just trying to stay up to speed on the project. And it's kind of just been fueling me to keep pushing the limit on what you can print and roller coaster wise, and just go from there.
Yeah, I mean, so if anybody at home has a great idea or something they've created, I highly encourage you, share your ideas out on social media. Let other people see your creations, whether or not it's your job or it's your hobby or whatever it might be. Somebody out there is likely very interested in what you've done.
Exactly.
Whether it's for the pure curiosity of it, creating something of their own, or learning how to do something we live in a world where it's very easy to share ideas, share things like that. And you never know, if you see somebody who's got a great idea, reach out to the Solidworks community team. You never know, they'll probably be wanting you to come out here to Solidworks.
Yeah, and then you get to show off your stuff, in front of like thousands of designers and engineers. Why is that like not the best thing to strive for? So I agree with you 100%. And as you kind of mentioned, it's like when I posted it, you find the people out there that are interested. Not everyone likes roller coasters. Some people hate them or are terrified of them. But yeah, but you'll find the individuals that actually are interested in what you're working on. So it's great.
Okay. Any other thoughts for the folks who might be watching at home about like, let me ask you this question before we get there. Is this your first SolidWorks World?
This is in fact my first SolidWorks World.
So what are your thoughts?
It is awesome. Far? It is an experience. And I can always say good things in the sense of all the people you meet. So everyone has their reasons for being here. Maybe they want to learn technical stuff or hang out with their colleagues. But for me, I think just networking with everyone has been like the really critical thing, at least for me. Like, I met so many cool people just from here and just the SolidWorks community as a whole. And yeah, it's just the networking is really really cool. I can't. I'm speechless. It's that good. It's that good.
Connections you'll take back with you, and you'll reach out to
Exactly.
these people after this event, and
for sure.
be able to share both personal relationships, business relationships, and the ideation process.
Exactly. Yep. 100%.
Well, that's great. So let me come back to that question I was starting to ask you. If you had anything else you wanted to share for the people at home, whether it's about pursuing a hobby, pursuing design and engineering, or coming to SolidWorks World. Any thoughts?
I guess to summarize, like if you're in school going to be an engineer and your university is providing you these awesome products, just like as part of your tuition, just go and use it, dive into it. Even if you don't know, there's tutorials on YouTube how to do everything. So I would just say, if they're providing, just use the crap out of it and learn how to use it. So that's my one, I guess, plug. So, and then the second is if you have an idea and you have these tools around, just go for it. Don't sit around thinking about all the ways it won't work. You'll figure it out. That's why you're an engineer. You're a problem solver. Just dive into it and then solve issues as you go along. So I just say don't give up. Yeah, just go for it. And if you have an interest, like for me it was roller coasters, go and follow that and just see where it takes you.
Awesome.
And it could take you to SolidWorks World. So that's cool.
Well, Matt, I want to thank you so much for joining us here today.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
This has been great. I encourage anybody who is here at the event, make sure you go check out the Hive where we've got one of the roller coasters on display, and come visit him here in the product showcase where they've actually got one that they're working on live during the rest of the event here. And stay tuned for the rest of the day. One of the folks I saw you talking with earlier was Dr. Bob from Haptics. We're going to be interviewing him a little bit later on this afternoon as well.
So
cool. So stay tuned. Make sure if you're following us on Facebook to like the page, subscribe to us on YouTube, or stay tuned in to the SolidWorks World app. Until later on, we'll see you all later.